You know, there is a curious thing about the human hand. If you want to grab a hold of something, say a handful of water from a flowing stream, the harder you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. You find yourself standing there with a tight, white-knuckled fist and absolutely nothing inside it. But if you simply cup your hands gently and let the water rest there, well, then you have the lake, you have the river, you have the whole sky reflected in the palm of your hand. Now, why is it that we find this so difficult to apply to the business of living? We are all, in a sense, victims of a colossal hoax. We have been taught from the moment we could wiggle our toes that life is a matter of effort, that you must get a grip on yourself, that you must take the bull by the horns. We are told that if we don't keep a firm hand on the tiller, the boat of our lives will surely drift into the rocks and be smashed to smithereens. And so we spend our entire existence in a state of chronic muscular tension. We are bracing ourselves against the future, clutching at the past, and trying with a kind of desperate heroism to make the present moment behave itself. But have you ever stopped to ask, who is this I that is supposed to be in control? We think of ourselves as a sort of little man inside the head, sitting behind the eyes, pulling levers and pushing buttons, trying to manage a world that is outside of us. We feel like a lonely island of consciousness in a vast, indifferent ocean of not me. And because we feel separate, we feel threatened. And because we feel threatened, we try to control. We want to ensure that the me survives, that the me is happy, that the me is safe. But look at the world. Look at the way the trees grow. Does the pine tree try to be tall? Does the cloud exert effort to float across the summer sky? If you look at the functioning of your own body, the way your heart beats, the way your lungs breathe, the way your millions of cells are performing the most incredible dance of chemistry, is you doing any of that? Do you know how you turn your dinner into hair and teeth and blue eyes? Of course not. It does itself. The great Taoist masters call this Wu Wei, not doing nothing in the sense of being a lazy lump, but non-forcing. It is the art of sailing rather than rowing. It is the realization that the more you interfere with a complex system, whether it is the ecology of a forest or the ecology of your own mind, the more you mess it up. When you try to control your mind, it's like trying to smooth agitated water with a flat iron. All you do is create more ripples. To make the water still, you must leave it alone. To be in control of your life, you must, quite literally, lose your mind and come to your senses. We are terrified of the idea of letting go because we think it means a kind of chaotic abandonment. We imagine that if we stop controlling, we will become a victim of circumstances, like a leaf blown aimlessly by the wind. But this fear is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what you are. You see, you are not a thing that is pushed around by other things. You are a process. You are a movement of the entire universe, just as a wave is a movement of the entire ocean. When the ocean moves, the wave moves. And when you move, it is the whole cosmos moving through you. So who is there to control what? Imagine you were driving a car down a winding mountain road. If you hold the steering wheel with a death grip, if you are terrified of every curve, you will be an exhausted wreck by the time you reach the bottom. But if you relax, if you become one with the car, one with the road, one with the movement, you find that the controlling happens of its own accord. You aren't doing the driving is happening, and you are the witness to it. The ego is nothing more than a chronic habit of tension. It is the feeling of a tightness in the face and the neck, a sensation of holding on to an idea of who you are. And we think that if we relax that tension, we will vanish. We are like someone hanging on to a branch over a precipice in the pitch black of night. Our arms are aching, our fingers are bleeding, and we are screaming for help. And then,
Finally, we can't hold on any longer. We let go. And we fall, exactly 3 inches onto a soft, grassy bank. You have been supported by the universe since the day you were born, yet you insist on trying to hold yourself up. You are like a passenger on an airplane who is so nervous that he insists on holding his own luggage in his lap to help the plane stay in the air. The plane is carrying you and your luggage, whether you hold it or not. To let go is to realize that you are the plane and the air and the destination. One of the main reasons we try to control is because we are afraid of time. We treat time as a predator. We feel that it is running out, that it is stealing our youth, our beauty, and eventually our very existence. And so we try to save time, manage time, and control the future. But the future is a phantom. It doesn't exist. It is a mental construction, a what-if, that we use to distract ourselves from the only reality there is, the eternal now. If you are always trying to control the future, you are never actually living. You are like a person who goes to a concert and, instead of listening to the music, spends the entire time looking at the program to see what the next piece will be. The music is happening now, in the vibration of the air, in the silence between the notes. But you aren't there. You are in the next 5 minutes. And then there is death, the ultimate out-of-control experience. We spend our lives trying to keep death at bay, building walls, taking pills, avoiding the very thought of it. But death is the necessary background to life. You cannot have a solid without space. You cannot have a sound without silence. And you cannot have being without non-being. To let go of the control of life is to accept death, not as a morbid event in the future, but as a part of the present rhythm. Every time you exhale, you are dying a little bit, and every time you inhale, you are reborn. If you tried to control your breath by only inhaling, by holding on to the air because you were afraid of losing it, you would suffocate. You must let go of the breath to receive the next one. You must let go of life to truly live it. You see, we are all under the impression that we are drivers of this life, when in reality, we are the ride. We have been conditioned to believe that if we aren't constantly interfering with the stream of events, the stream will simply stop flowing, or worse, flow into a ditch. But have you ever watched a cat? A cat does not try to land on its feet. It doesn't have a committee meeting in its head to decide which muscle to twitch. It simply is the falling, and in being the falling, it finds its balance. We, on the other hand, are the only creatures who try to stand outside of ourselves and watch ourselves live. We are like a person trying to walk while simultaneously looking at their own feet through a magnifying glass. Of course you trip. You become clumsy because you have split yourself in two. There is the you who walks and the you who watches and criticizes the walking. To let go of control is to heal this split. It is to realize that the watcher and the doer are one and the same process. When you finally understand this, a strange thing happens. You stop trying to be good, or trying to be calm, or trying to be successful. You simply act. And because your action is no longer paralyzed by the anxiety of the controller, it becomes incredibly efficient. This is the secret of the master swordsman or the great jazz musician. They aren't thinking about the next move. They have let go so completely that the sword moves itself, the trumpet plays itself. They have taken what I call the backward step. They have stepped out of the way of their own light. Most of our problems are problems only because we are resisting them. We are like a person caught in a whirlpool who exhausts themselves trying to swim away from the center. But the secret of the whirlpool is to dive in, to go down, down, down to the bottom where the water is ejected outwards. By surrendering to the vortex, you find your way out. But as long as you fight it, You stay trapped in the struggle. Now, let's look closely at this ego that is so obsessed with control. What is it really? If you look for it, you can't find it. It's like the equator, a useful geographical line, but you can't trip over it. The ego is a social convention, a trick of the light. We have been taught to identify ourselves with our role, our reputation, and our will. But your will is nothing more than the direction in which the universe is pulling you at this moment. You think you decide to wake up in the morning, but your body wakes up. You think you decide to fall in love, but love hits you like a tidal wave. You didn't choose your parents, your DNA, or the language you speak. You are a flower of the entire biological and social process. When you realize that the controller is a fiction, the burden of life simply drops away. It's like taking off a heavy suit of armor that you didn't know you were wearing. You suddenly find that you can breathe. You find that the world is not an obstacle to be overcome, but a playground to be enjoyed. The fear of losing control is really the fear of the unknown. We want to bridge the gap between now and then with a solid structure of certainty. But certainty is a form of rigor mortis. A living thing is always changing, always shifting, always out of control in the sense that it is spontaneous. If you could control your lover completely, you would no longer love them. You would have a puppet, a dead thing. Love is only possible because the other person is free, unpredictable, and ultimately beyond your grasp. Life is the same way. It is only alive because it is a dance into the unknown. So what does it look like to live without the illusion of control? It looks like a person who is totally involved in the world, yet totally detached. You play the game of life with everything you've got. You work, you create, you love, you eat, but you know in the back of your mind that it is a game. You aren't serious about it. You are sincere. There is a world of difference between the two. A person who is serious is heavy. They are worried about the outcome. They are trying to win at life. But a person who is sincere is like a child playing with blocks. They are completely focused, completely present, but if the blocks fall down, they just laugh and start again. They haven't lost anything because they never owned the blocks in the first place. To let go is to realize that you own nothing, not even your own body. You are a guest here. And when you realize you are a guest, you stop trying to remodel the hotel. You start enjoying the view. You find that you can trust the universe in the same way you trust your own heart to beat. You don't have to tell your heart how to do its job. It knows. And the universe knows how to be the universe. It doesn't need your advice. It doesn't need your anxiety. It certainly doesn't need your control. When you finally stop trying to hold up the sky, you realize that the sky has been holding you up all along. And in that moment, the you that was so tired, so afraid, and so tense simply evaporates. What is left is a vast, shimmering consciousness that is both the dancer and the dance. You are no longer a shivering little ego in a cold, dark world. You are the light itself, playing a game of hide and seek with itself. And the best part of the game is the moment you stop hiding and simply let go.